Hello everyone and welcome to the Los Angeles Legacy Open Sideboard. I'm here with Jeff Liu.
Hi.
Jeff's playing the 4 Horsemen Legacy deck, which we've got displayed out in front of us right here. And it's a pretty interesting combo deck as Legacy combo decks go, which is in and of itself saying something.
Yeah,
I think.
There's a few combo decks out there. It's kind of similar, but...
Okay, well I'm going to go ahead and let Jeff take the lead on it. So just describe to me basically how this deck goes about killing the opponent using Mesmeric Orb for starters.
Okay, so starting off, you want Mesmeric Orb. That's the first part of your combo. For those of you that don't know, since it's not a commonly played card, it's a 2-mana artifact. Whenever a permanent becomes untapped, the permanent's controller puts the top card of his or her library into her graveyard. His or her graveyard. So the goal is to try to deck yourself. And you do that with Basalt Monolith, which now says tap to add 3 mana to your mana pool and 3 mana to untap it. So it's on its own, just taps and untaps itself. It just kind of plays with itself and it mills a card off of your Mesmeric Orb each time.
Sure.
Once you have both of these in play, you're ready to win the game. That is it. That's all you need. So while you're milling, you find Narcomoebas. They come right into play once you mill them. And the goal is find Narcomoebas to flash back your Dread Return.
Okay.
Use the Dread Return on the Shroom that's now in your grave, hopefully. Once the Shroom comes back, it buys back any artifact into play, and we're going to choose Blasting Station for that.
Sure.
Blasting Station allows you to tap and sacrifice a creature to deal 1 damage, so you sacrifice a Narcomoeba, which deals a point of damage to them. And whenever a creature comes into play, it untaps. So you continue milling yourself until you hit Emrakul to shuffle in your Narcomoebas into your deck, find them again to untap your Blasting Station to deal 1 more damage. So you deal 1 point as many times as you wish.
So once you get basically the combination of Dread Return, Shroom, and Blasting Station in your graveyard during a mill process without hitting an Emrakul, and you have priority during a main phase.
You don't even need priority at that point.
To flash back the Dread Return.
Yeah, you have to flash back Dread Return at some point.
That's the point where you're at.
Yes.
And then we just have infinite Narcomoebas thanks to our Emrakul.
Yes.
All right, I got that much.
Yep.
Now we're moving down, and we've got Ponders and Brainstorms, not unusual at all in this kind of deck. Limdol's Vault ×4, which functions surprisingly close to Demonic Tutor in a lot of Legacy combo decks.
You have a lot of life to work with. You're not really taking all that much damage. Hopefully people aren't hitting you too much, so finding 5 cards is quite a bit. You get to set stuff up. It's nice. I like it because you can find both of these cards at the same time if they're within 5 cards of each other in your deck. So you can upkeep and just try to set it up such that you can draw both of them. I like that as long as you're not tapping more than 5 lands, which super rarely happens. Even if you have Mesmeric Orb out first, you can Limdol's Vault into your Basalt Monolith, stack your deck such that you're milling what you need, maybe some Narcomoebas, maybe some Cabal Therapies early, and still get to your card anyway.
So the index actually has some functionality on it too.
Yes.
It's handy. We've got a 1-of Intuition. What are we frequently intuitioning for?
Hopefully for one of these 2 pieces also. It's just another way to tutor for them.
Tutor style.
Yep. You can grab 3 Cabal Therapies if you really want to clear out their hand for whatever reason.
Sure.
And yeah, just grabbing more copies of things.
And speaking of Cabal Therapy, obviously that's a pretty powerful way to force through the combo, just like Dredge decks.
I actually don't get to play as much Magic as I would like, and sometimes there's some decks out there that I don't know what they do. So this lets me take a look at their hand, see what's up. I did have Jataxian Pro before, but it got kind of crowded. So this doubles as that. Also, if you end up getting any of these pieces stuck in your hand while you're already comboing, you have copies of Cabal Therapy that you can use your Narcomoebas. You have infinite of those anyway. Okay. You can flash them back, target yourself, get one of these 3 back into your grave from your hand, so it doesn't matter if you've ever drawn them, and continue going off that way.
It's a worthwhile trick to know.
Yep.
And beyond
Cabal Therapy yourself, super important after clearing out the way from your opponent.
Sure. We've got Force of Will, no surprise there.
Yep.
We have Ancient Tomb as our sole land of choice to drop down turn 2 Basalt Monoliths, I imagine.
Yeah, turn 1, or turn 2 Basalt Monolith. Sometimes you just get people.
Just dead on turn 2?
Yep, dead on turn 2.
Impressive capability.
Hopefully.
We have a 1 Academy Ruins. Is this just, do you actually wind up using it that much?
Every once in a while you get one of these things destroyed, or I use it as a tutor. Once you have Mesmeric Orb, just tap all your lands every turn. Get a Basalt Monolith into the grave, put it back on top. You're done.
All right.
So you can find your Basalt Monolith sometimes. And it's been relevant occasionally.
That basically summarizes up the main deck.
Yep.
You've got an interesting sideboard though.
Yeah, so basically I think this deck is really fragile to a lot of graveyard hate.
Okay.
you get anything destroyed, you get some Narco Amiibos gotten rid of. I'm only playing all these 1-0s. If you get anything, just anything, Surgical Attraction, any Leyland of the Voids, Tormod's Crypts, they put a big hamper on it. So I don't really want to play this deck after the first game of a match.
It's a bit of a glass monolith, as it were.
Yes, exactly. So here we have Painter Servant and Grindstone. For the Painter Servant Grindstone combo, you name any color, and then you mill 2 cards from them. If they're the same color, you deck them. So 1 activation, they have no more deck, hopefully, and they die. The other half is Show and Tell, and I have 2 more Emeralds to join the other 2, and 1 more Angel of Despair. So this is 15 cards. I usually bring all of it in. I'll shuffle all 15 cards in, and then I'll remove Mesmeric Orb and Basal Monolith. They don't do anything anymore. Remove the Narco Amiibos, and remove these 3 cards. So that the main deck combo is exactly 15 cards anyway. Everything else are just kind of like nuts and bolts pieces that you can do stuff on their own. Find your other 2-card combos, and I play 2 other 2-card combos after the first hand.
And it looks like basically sort of a blue-black rather than the traditional like blue or blue-red style of painted stone at that point.
Yep. You don't get Goblin Welder or anything, but people are also just never ready. Like in multiple rounds, people have gone turn 0 Leyline of the Void. After sideboarding, they're like, haha, you can't win, right? It's like pretty hard, and it just doesn't matter anymore after sideboarding.
Okay.
None of the graveyard hate they bring in, they're all dead cards. So hopefully you just catch them off guard there. If it goes to a game 3, then you have to shuffle everything back in again, decide what you do from there.
Put them on the guessing game?
Yes, and then you get to play guessing games.
Well, let's let the viewers in. What do you usually do?
I almost always leave the other stuff in because it's harder to stop the other 2 combos than it is for the graveyard stuff. If they happen to get 1 graveyard piece, sometimes they can just mess you up enough.
Okay.
So I like keeping in those the actual sideboard plan and only playing this for game 1. Depending on what sort of graveyard hate they might have. If it's not Leyline, if it's something even like Scavenging Ooze, it's not that bad because you can re-go off in response to a Scavenging Ooze activation.
Sure.
For every 3 mana you have to re-monolith.
Yeah, because even the Narc Amiibos can't come into play if you don't let them, right?
Yeah, and if you they try to remove one of these pieces, you just
shuffle it back with the
mill. Yeah, just keep milling so they can't even get it, and eventually they'll run out of mana trying.
Which also applies to like a Surgical Extraction, basically anything pinpoint.
Yep, anything that's just targeting one thing, you can pretty much get around it.
Okay.
The times where it's kind of difficult is when let's say for some reason you didn't Cabal Therapy them, and they still have it in their hand. Usually they don't have anything, the way is clear and you already know, because you can cast all 4 Cabal Therapies before you really commit to anything. Okay. And if for some reason they have a 5th copy of some other card you couldn't get, the problem is when you try to Dread Return Shroom, they can remove the Shroom. And even if you reshuffle it so they can't, you've lost your Dread Return.
Sure.
So before today, I was playing 2 Dread Returns and only 1 Emrakul, and I would definitely go back to that. It was a mistake to play the second Emrakul. Or maybe I'll just cut a different card, maybe cut the Intuition for another Dread Return. The only reason there's 2 Emrakuls at all is so that they don't remove that in response to its own trigger. So then I can respond by hitting the other Emrakul, shuffle them both back in.
Okay. Well, that's our look at 4 Horsemen, Jeff Liu style.
Yep. I hate that name. I don't even know where that came from. 4 Horsemen doesn't make any sense.
I don't know either, actually. It's one of those legacy deck names. Legacy community, we blame you because we're saddled with a lot of them.
It's not even a breakfast food like many of the others. It's just out of nowhere.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and throw it back to more Legacy. This is a Legacy Open after all, so thanks for coming in, Jeff.
Thank you.
Good luck in the tournament.
Thanks.